Namaste. I am your host Shailaja. Welcome to the Samvit Samvad podcast with our distinguished guest, a living legend, Dr. Hanuman Chowdary garu, who is well known for his work, for his expertise in telecommunication. He is a well-known author, scholar, and he is over 90 years old, but he is still very, very young. And he spends his time entirely day and night in the scholarship, in the service of the nation. So I'll just sort of briefly give his very short profile. So Dr. Chowdary holds a bachelor's degree in telecommunications. He held executive, managerial and directorial positions in Indian government's Departments of Information and Broadcasting and Telecommunications. He was Deputy Director General in the Department of Telecom and then became the first Chairman and Managing Director of the VSNL, India's Overseas Telecom Corporation. We also know him, he was awarded the Padma Shri also, and we also know him as the founder chairperson of Pragya Bharati, a group of intellectuals who are contributing to the nation. He has written more than 25-30 books in both Telugu and English, and we are very honored to be in his presence today. Namaste, Hanuman Chowdary garu.
Namaste.
Thank you for giving us the privilege of talking to you. We are here today, we are commemorating 77th Hyderabad Liberation Day on 17th September 2025. So we know that Hyderabad state was not liberated in 1947 August 15th along with the rest of the country. There were 3 or 4 more which were also not merged with the Indian Union. Hyderabad is one of them. So we just give a little background of what Hyderabad was. The Hyderabad state was the very largest state in the undivided India. The population comprises of about 90% of Hindus, only 10% of Muslims. It had 16 districts and 1.64 crore population, as per the 1941 census. In the Telangana region, it had, today's Telangana, it had about 8 districts, and then also Hyderabad, the corporation was called the Baldia, and then there were 5 districts from Maharashtra, Aurangabad, Bhim, Parbhani, Nanded, Usmanabad, which had a population of 50 lakhs, and Karnataka had 3 districts, Gulbarga, Raichur and Bidar, which had a population of 30 lakhs. Hyderabad itself, Telangana region itself had about 84 lakhs. Together it comprises of about 1.64 crore population, and it's the largest state in undivided India. We know that during the Razakar period and a little before that, more than 1 lakh Hindus were killed, were massacred. So we still do not know the details of all those things, but at least it is estimated that at least 1 lakh Hindus were killed by various pogroms and genocides. So we would like to sort of talk to you regarding the Hyderabad liberation, sir, and then the background to that and how it happened that we have come to that stage where Operation Polo was conducted, and then you can take it from there.
Namaskar.
Namaste, sir.
I am 94 years young. I will be having my 95th birthday on the 18th of October of this year. I was witness to Rajakar's inhuman actions upon Hindus, the Nizam's intentions, and the Telangana struggle, liberation struggle, first waged by the communists in the name of Andhra Mahasabha. I was myself a communist while I was in the college at that time in Chennai, Engineering College, Gidli. So I used to follow the actions of the communist guerrillas who liberated about 1,000 villages in what are now called Nalgonda, Warangal and Khammam districts. And they are aspiring that the communist revolution should spread to all over India. They characterize the Nehru government of 1947 August 15th onwards as a stooge of Anglo-American imperialism. So they started waging a war against the Nehru government itself as a continuation of the struggle against the Nizam. Nizam wanted to be independent. He did not want to join the Indian Union, not acceding. He wanted some treaty, etc. He Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir and Junagadh. These are the three recalcitrant states which did not want to join the Indian Union. In 1947 June itself, we were not yet independent. There was a cabinet mission and there was some program of how to divide, etc., etc. The Nizam declared, I would not accede either to Indian Union or to Pakistan. I will be independent. I will have a treaty as though he was an independent country and a state with either of them. So the communists thought that's very good because it is easy to defeat the Nizam, not to defeat the Indian Union. Therefore, the interest of the Nizam and his Rajakar supporters and the communists coincided. That means, let Nizam be independent. He is a weak power. We have already liberated some districts. We will liberate some more, and from here we will spread all over India to pull down the Nehru government, characterized as a stooge of Anglo-American imperialism. Now, here was a rapidly Islamist movement led by Rajakar, Qasim Rajvi. Rajakars were volunteers, so he drilled them into an army type of thing. So they used to raid and also they work against every person who was for the merger of the Nizam state with the Indian Union. In the August 1947, 15th, Nizam was as he was. He was not acceding either to Pakistan or to India. Now what to do with him? So there was what was called a standstill agreement. In November 1947, standstill, that is, Jaisata, as you are, an agreement between the Nizam government and the Indian Union. At the same time, he wanted that the Indian forces that were stationed in Secunderabad, that was called the Residuary Army, which the British deployed in almost every state, Indian state, which was of considerable strength. So Nizam asked the Indian Union, withdraw your this residuary force, which was withdrawn from Secunderabad. So he was absolutely free, backed by Rajakars and also indirectly by the Communist Party. Now the atrocities that they were committing were mounting. People ran away to the Andhra area, to the Maharashtra area, and some people went to Delhi and used to tell Sardar Patel all the atrocities and the indignities that were being imposed upon the Hindu population in the state. Sardarji used to listen to them, counsel patience. Now this Nizam is not going to exceed, not only not exceeding, he has even sent a delegation to the United Nations, which was then meeting, the Security Council was meeting in Paris. So he sent a delegation to that saying that India is committing aggression on the Nizam. And the Nizam state, it is committing aggression. So also he was accumulating lot of weapons. There was one Australian arms smuggler. That man used to bring so many arms from so many countries, and then in normal airport he used to drop, and from there they were getting distributed. So the Nizam's army, as well as the Rajakars, were being equipped with arms and ammunition. And Rajakar Raji was saying that the waters of the Indian Ocean, of the Bay of Bengal, will wash the feet of the Nizam. All that was part of Nizam's will again get them for the Nizam, and will march up to Red Fort of India and will capture even that one. That was the type of speeches that he was making. So atrocities were being committed, looted, raped. People went to Sardar Patel saying, save us, wait. He was saying, patience. Standstill agreement. The Indian army was removed from Secunderabad. Then in the cabinet, what shall we do? Nehru said, India is for peace. If you take any armed action, India's prestige will go down. Therefore, we shall not take any armed action, have patience, negotiate and all sorts of things. And who was the Governor General then? Mountbatten. So Mountbatten, see, the Nizam was called His Exalted Highness. H-E-H. Sardar Patel once called it, after liberation, His Exhausted Highness. And not His Exalted Highness, but Exhausted Highness after liberation. Now, in the cabinet there used to be discussions. There were a lot of discussions between the Nizam and the government of India also. Like Ali was the chief minister or Diwan, or whatever he was called, he was of the Nizam. So many negotiations, nothing. They will come to some agreement and is about to be signed, but they will come back and say it will be repudiated. It went on and on and on. Sardar Patel knew what was happening. He did not want to take action because Mountbatten, the Governor General, Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister, was not for any action. When Mountbatten went away in June 1948. So Mountbatten tried a number of times in order to have some understanding, not a pact, but some understanding, not a treaty, but some understanding between the Indian Union and the Nizam. No substantial independence, but neither subservience, neither. That type thing was going on. Finally, after 2 or 3 attempts, Sardar Patel was convalescing. He was in Dehradun. He had a heart attack. He was convalescing. So after so many attempts, we will not go into that history. After so many attempts, the agreement was signed as to what should be the relationship between Nizam and the Indian Union government. So, Nehru, Mountbatten, our defense minister Sardarji was there,
Baldev Singh.
Sardar Baldev Singh, along with Mountbatten, they went to the bedside of Sardar Patel, saying, "Sir, now we have got an agreement, etc." What is that agreement? He said, "I won't sign this one, this nonsense." Then Mountbatten said, "I thought I would settle this problem and go away, but I will be going in great disappointment." Sardar Patel said, "Is that so? Is that of great importance to you, emotional importance?" Mountbatten said, "Yes, all right, give me," and he signed it.
Okay.
He signed it. He knew that it will be eventually repudiated. This is exactly this what happened. It was signed, agreed with Sardar Patel, some relationship. But when it came to Hyderabad, again, under the influence of Lai Kali and Kashmir Raji, Nizam repudiated it. So everything was over. Now, what else is left? Only armed action is left. Shall we take it or not? Nehru was not for it. Mountbatten went away. In June he went away. Then who was the Governor General? Rajagopalachari was the Governor General. So again in the cabinet there used to be heated discussions. Sardar Patel once even walked out. Anyway, finally, when they were meeting, there was a representation from the British High Commissioner to the Governor General, that is Rajaji. Rajaji produced that one at the crucial moment when the cabinet meeting was going on, and Nehru was opposing any police action or any military action. So Rajaji read that was a protest from the British High Commissioner against the Rajakars and the Nizam people raping a European woman in Hyderabad. That pricked Nehru. Indian women were, so many women were raped, so many were but nothing happened. Then once Nehru read this one, the protest of the British High Commissioner against the raping of a white woman, he said, "All right, we can take action." So when the action was to be taken, it used to be very violent in the cabinet meetings. Nehru against, and Rajaji was once he was wanting to walk out of that one. Anyway, we will not go into that one. Finally, the Sardar Patel won. action would be taken. And who was the commander-in-chief of the Indian forces at that time? General Bokar. So Sardar Patel had even fixed the date on the 13th of September 1947, 48, when the Indian armies, one from Maharashtra side, another from Kabul, that is from southern side, another from east side, that is from Vijayawada onwards. So the action was to begin on the 13th night, so the early hours of 13th. So at about midnight, General Bokar rings up Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister, and says, "Sir, Pakistan is in warning because Muhammad Ali Jinnah died. Therefore, it would not be proper that we would take any military action now." But Nehru said, "Don't talk to me, please talk to Sardar Patel." At least that good thing they can do. So this General Bokar rings up Sardar Patel with the midnight. A few minutes before midnight, "Sir, we want to postpone. Are you the commander-in-chief of the Indian Army or of the Pakistan? My understand, you have to march. At the stroke of the midnight hour, enter Hyderabad from all the direction that we have done." That's how the action began. Now, this man, Bokar, spoke to his counterpart, who was also an Englishman, who was the commander-in-chief of the Pakistan Army, and Sardar Patel saw to it that it was monitored and recorded. So after something has happened, so somebody goes to General Bokar, VP Menon, Sardar Patel's ferryman, really trusted person. Next day he goes to Bokar and says, "Did you speak to your counterpart in Pakistan?" "Yes, I spoke." "What did you speak?" "Oh, because both of us are from UK, we are enjoying with the families." Then he paid. Then he paid whatever was recorded. That's why he resigned. Saying this, so you are a traitor to India. Anyway, that's his side. So action began. So the Deccan radio, that was like our All India radio, Deccan radio was the mouthpiece of the Nizam. So it was saying, yes, they are attacking us, but we are repelling them. So many of the Indian army people were killed. Here, there, all sorts of things were there. Munshiji was under arrest. Munshiji was the Agent General of India in Nizam territory, that is in Hyderabad, the King's Southern. That was the place where he was. So the Indian Deccan radio was claiming victory after victory, defeat of the Indian forces here, there and everywhere, etc., etc. But all that was false. So when they were about 50 kilometers from Hyderabad, coming from Maharashtra side, so the Nizam realized that our days are over. What to do? Munshiji was the Indian general, he was under arrest. So Nizam consulted him, he called him and consulted him, and Munshiji very thoughtfully said, the Indian army should not enter Hyderabad. Because if the Indian army entered Hyderabad and then the Nizam signed the whatever agreement, I will tell you what he has to do, then he will tell the world, Pakistan will tell the world, and Britain and America will believe that under duress and because of the military presence of the military in Hyderabad, the Nizam was capitulated. It should not happen. So Munshiji advised Nizam and the Indian army not to enter Hyderabad, stay on near about Jahirabad. And on the 4th day, that is on the 17th evening, Nizam went on the Deccan radio. He did not know how to speak extra. Munshiji trained him. This is the microphone. You have to speak into the microphone like this. And he did not know what to speak also. So Munshiji prompted him, this is what you have to do. So the speech was, I have ordered the I have welcomed, I have requested, this is what he requested the Indian Army to enter the Nizam's territory, disarm the Rajakars who have overwhelmed me and have been committing all the atrocities. It is on my request that the Indian Army was called in order to have peace and order in my state. That is the sum and substance of the broadcast that Nizam made. So, on the 17th, the armed actions were stopped and the Indian Army stayed a few tens of kilometers away from Hyderabad, from all the directions. So, it was as though Nizam has invited the Indian Army in order to bring law and order in his state. And he has also instructed his delegation in the United Nations, in the Security Council, in Paris, to withdraw the case.
Okay.
So there a debate was going on, and the Chinese nationalist, it was not communist at that time, the Chinese nationalist delegation was objecting, saying, who is Nizam? What is his status? How could we entertain this gentleman? So postponed. Like that he got it, things postponed for 2-3 days, but then the action was over.
Okay.
See how the nationalist Chinese really helped us. So the surrender army did not enter on the 17th. Ceasefire was there. Then next day, who is to come and give the that surrender action? Who is to do? Who is the commander-in-chief of the Nizam's armies? The prince of his son, Nizam's son. He and General Chowdary entered and he submitted his sword, etc. This ceremonial action, the surrender was there. So what was it? Legally, it was the Nizam who was invited the Indian Army in order to establish law and order and disarm the rowdy elements, etc. and bring about peace. Now what is it called? Is it not liberation? Is it not, every prince, Maharaja, etc. have signed 3 articles of the accession to India. I surrender external affairs, law and order, postal communications, and defense.
Foreign services.
So these are the 3 things that every Raja, Maharaja, etc. has signed. Did Nizam sign? No. So it is not accession. He did not exceed. What was it? Indian forces, Indian army, disarmed the Nizam's army and took over the state. And who was the ruler? General Chowdary was the ruler. He was called the military administrator. He was called the military administrator, and he was slowly after a few days, he was assisted by some civilian IAS officers, ICS officers, like called IAS officers, etc. Therefore, it is very, very clear Nizam, the Hyderabad state was liberated. Nizam never signed any accession. There is no question of accession. There is no question of merger. There was martial law, military rule, and slowly the military rule was finished and civilian rule came. One A.S. Bakre, an ICS officer, was given as an advisor to General Chowdary, and afterwards the military administration was withdrawn. It was only civilian administration under that Bakre, and afterwards they took 3 or 4 congressmen into the cabinet, etc. That's the liberation. So it was a liberation. There was no accession, signing of that agreement or anything of the sort. And Indian government to establish itself, and the Nizam was appointed, just like in the subsequent reforms that were coming, as a Raja Pramukh.
So it's a very interesting detail that you said, because there is a lot of distorted narratives that go on.
Absolutely.
You have clearly differentiated between accession as well as liberation. So thank you for
liberation followed by military rule, martial law, etc. And slowly he is transformed into civilian rule, which is similarly after some time a cabinet, after some time assembly, etc., etc. That's how they came.
A very, very eventful time of history. So let's
But
just take.
one thing we have to clear.
Yeah.
Now, yes, the military has come.
Yeah.
What about the communists now? The Rajakars on the 17th, 18th onwards gave all their ammunition, all their weapons to communists. And the communists went on waging war or resisting the Indian army, and afterwards whatever police we have brought, and Malabar Special Police was brought from Madras Presidency.
Okay.
They are very, very effective force. So instead, the local users fellows would for nothing, therefore they got Malabar Special Police, and they used to fight between the Malabar Special Police and the communist guerrillas, and Indian army intervening. So that means virtually there was a rebellion, continued rebellion of the communists against the Indian Union. It went on from 1948 to say September 17 until 1951 September. That means for 3 years the communists in the Telangana area waged a war against the Indian Union and its army. They were almost, I was witness to that. I was part of that one. I was in the College of Engineering in Delhi, a communist leader, right, who used to produce written newspapers, lightning the raid by the guerrilla army against the Indian army. So we used to write and distribute, etc. That's why I'm
So
saying.
how did they manage to, this kind of a rebellion against the Indian state, which continued till 1951? How did they manage to project it as, a Telangana peasant uprising, and so on? Internationally, they have written several books, articles, and everything.
See, until 1946 and middle of a few months of 1947, it was indeed a struggle of the Indian peasantry, the Telangana peasantry, as the Rajakar and the Nizam. It was so. In 1948, at the Third Congress of the Communist Party of India in Calcutta, Comrade P.C. Joshi was removed as Secretary General. Comrade B.T. Rangivi took over as Secretary General, and under directions of Stalin and the Communist International, Communist International was dissolved during the Second World War, and in its place came Kuomintang, Communist Information Bureau, that is working under Stalin, and Stalin directing all the communist parties. So they said Stalin characterized the Indian government, no, it is not a free government, it is a bourgeois government, it is a controlled government, lucky running dog of American imperialism, British imperialism, like that, therefore it must be thrown out. So B.T. Rangivi took and said, yes, Telangana is the Yangon of India. Yangon was a small province in China where the communists withdrew and concentrated in the middle of China because there was a war between the communists led by Mao Zedong and Chiang Kai-shek leading the nationalist Kuomintang party. So they concentrated first, took control of the Yangon, and from there they withdrew the whole of China, Civil War, etc. Same thing, Telangana is the Yangon of India. From first we liberate Telangana, and afterwards whole of Hyderabad, afterwards whole of India, right? In support of what the communists were doing in Telangana, because B.T. Rangivi declared that the Nehru government should be dethroned. So not only from Telangana, some parts of Maharashtra, some parts of Bengal, and some parts of Kerala, the Communist Party took to arms, but they were all suppressed very easily. It is only here in Telangana because the communists got the arms and the ammunition from the Rajakars and the Nizam's army. With this they went on fighting. They were decimated. Only a few hundred were left. Thousands were killed by the Indian army in the encounters. Then a delegation of communist leaders led by Comrade Ajay Ghosh, the secretary who replaced P.T. Ranjivi, Ranjivi replaced P.C. Joshi. All this history I know very well because I was part of it. So, led by Comrade Ajay Ghosh, accompanied by Makineni Basopundaya, Chandra Rajeshwara and Sripad Amuntu Dange. So this delegation of 4 people secretly went to Stalin, to Moscow. So after about 10 days or so, he gave the interview. Our comrades told Stalin, sir, you have helped China and therefore Chinese communists have won and they have established a government, etc., etc. Please help us. We have been fighting for the last 3 years. Thousands of our comrades have been killed. A few of us are still left. We will still continue the fight as directed by you, provided you give us the arms. Then Stalin asked them to get a map and said, show me the border between Soviet Union and India. Was there a border? No. Show me the border between China and USSR. Border is there. So I can give them arms. How can I give you arms? I can't give you arms. Therefore, the best thing is you have to ask for negotiations. So, to establish peace, there must be negotiations between the Communist Party and the government of India. Just as what they are wanting, Mao saying. The Maoist fellows are wanting negotiations. So they came back. And what will you do? After negotiations, you establish a popular front. And then participate in the elections. These are the clear directions. People came secretly and then asked for negotiations. By the time Sardar Patel died, 50 December, whereas this is in 1951. So, Kailasnath Kharju was the Home Minister. For a little while, Rajaji was also Home Minister. They simply turned down, saying, who are you to negotiate? Get lost. Surrender unconditionally. So they surrendered unconditionally, and as advised by Stalin, started the PDF, Popular Democratic Front, with Dr. N.M. Jaisurya, the son of Sarojini Naidu, as his leader. So the 1951 September, there were no negotiations. The communists, as told by Stalin, have formed the PDF, Popular Democratic Front, with Jaisurya, and 51 December, 52 January, we had general elections. They participated in the general elections. In the general elections, what happened? In the Telangana area, they swept. The PDF got most majority, but not in Karnataka area and the Maratha area. So what happened? The communists surrendered, participated, formed the Popular Democratic Front, just as they do now also, with a retired Justice of the High Court of Andhra, Telangana. Chandra, somebody is dead. Who want talks, just as then. No, government of India says no talks, who are you to talk to, etc. Our Home Minister has clearly said, Amit Shah has said, surrender unconditionally. There is no question. By March 2026, none of you will be left. Either you surrender or get killed, that's all. The action will continue. Same thing happened. They forged a Popular Democratic Front, that is a stunt. Always they start a Popular Democratic Front. Now they are trying to infiltrate into the Congress. We will not go into that. Unless you ask me a question, I will tell you what they are doing now. What they were doing, there is a Congress Socialist Party started in 1934, entered the Congress. The Congress was not allowing communists, so the communists joined the Congress Socialist Party, and through that they went into the Congress. And in 1942 betrayal, so when all the Congress people came out of the jails, they appointed a 3-man committee with Sardar Nehru, Sardar Patel and Govinda Pant. They said these fellows are traitors, they expelled all the communists from the Congress. So this is the history of the communists in India.
So ultimately the government was formed by Congress.
The elections were held here. In 1952, starkly The Telangana area, the majority was won by the communists under the leadership of the Dr. N.M. Jayasuriya, called Popular Democratic Front. And Ravi Narayan Reddy, comrade Ravi Narayan Reddy, he contested as an MP from Bhubaneswar constituency. He has got the largest number of votes in this country. Not even Jawaharlal Nehru got it. Comrade Ravi Narayan Reddy got more votes than Jawaharlal Nehru in the first elections in India. Because they were martyrs. So many communists were killed. So their atrocities were forgotten. But their martyrdom was respected. Their martyrdom was respected. Right? So this has got a sequel. When the Amarat States reorganization came in 1956, the states reorganization under the chairmanship of Justice Fazlali recommended that Telangana should be a separate state. Not even a panchayat. Where is the question of any parliament, etc., etc.? So they don't know anything. So Telangana should be separate, Andhra should be separate. Whereas the communists were saying, Visarandhra Praja Rajyam. The both Telangana and Andhra should be merged and we will establish a people's democracy in that. So,
until then it was Burgu Ramakrishna Rao who was...
1952 elections, isn't it? It is a composite state. Hyderabad was a Nizam state only. So they got a majority only in the Telangana, not in the Karnataka and the other one which accounted for about 45% of the MLAs. So when the Fazlali Commission recommended separate Telangana, whereas the Communist Party was wanting a Vishalandhara Prajarajam, both of them should be combined, etc. The Home Minister said, I will never give Telangana to the Communists. They have already demonstrated. They want the majority of the Telangana area. So if Telangana separate state is there, it will be Communist state. I will not allow that one. Therefore, Vishalandhara was with an understanding between Peddamanushula Angikaram, that is gentleman's agreement. What was that agreement? That Urdu should continue for some time as a High Court language. If the Chief Minister is from Andhra, the Deputy Chief Minister must be from Telangana and vice versa. And the Revenue Department should always be with the Telangana people only. Why? Because the Telangana area and Nizam state was a surplus state. Because the fellow was collecting the taxes and keeping them. Was not doing any development. Whereas Andhra was a deficit state. Because under the popular rule, etc., they are having this project, that project, taking loans, debt indebted. So they said the Revenue Department should always be with the Telangana people only. And if the Chief Minister is from the Acta area, from Telangana and vice versa. And that was the gentleman's agreement. All the gentlemen were from the Congress only. Congress gentlemen from Andhra, Congress gentlemen from Telangana. So the Vishalandhara was formed 1956 October. Then who was the first Chief Minister? Sanjay Reddy. Sanjay Reddy, what did he say? He said, there are 5 fingers, why do you want a 60th finger? I don't want Deputy Chief Minister. So the first violation was by the Andhra people. The gentleman's agreement was violated first by Andhra people. And the Revenue Department should it be with the Telangana? No, why should we a combined state? Because we have to have development. So that man started using the Telangana funds, surplus funds, for the development of here, there and whatnot. So arguably Hamsapadu, that is in the beginning itself, the step was, the agreement was broken. That's the beginning of the rupture between the Telangana and Andhra people, but not accumulating. So this is the story of...
We have jumped a few years, so let us go back to the Nizam period.
Nizam period.
So what actually caused this whole rise of Razakars? And then we read that there are a lot of things which happened. Telugu as a language was suppressed, there were no Telugu schools, the temples were demolished, desecrated, they were... all these things have happened.
Have happened here.
So, yeah.
Because the Muslims... See, the Muslims under Rajakar, MIM, Mufis Ittihadul Muslimin, when it was formed, 1928.
Yeah.
1928 it was formed.
Yeah.
What was the purpose? the sovereignty of the Hyderabad state does not rest in Nizam. It rests with the Muslims of Hyderabad state. The sovereignty is theirs. Nizam is by our courtesy only. So he should do whatever we want. That MIM became very militant when Qasim Rozi from Nanded came here as the leader of that one. He is the third person who was the leader of the Ittihadul Muslimin. So, the sovereignty is that of ours. Well, we want Nizam should do. That was his attitude. And that went on, so that he became uncontrollable.
Yeah. So we know about how the temples were destroyed, how festivals were not allowed to be conducted, like whether it's
Telugu was not there at all. Only there was Telugu school. And that is why the fight was in the name of Andhra Mahasabha, not the name of the communists. The Andhra Mahasabha was overtaken by the communists by its infiltration tactic. Communist, I know, I was in the Communist Party.
Especially
so you must infiltrate into every nationalist organization. First infiltrate and then overtake. And therefore you should come under this. Take All India Trade Union Congress was formed by congressmen, by Lajapatra, etc. But the communists took over. So All India Trade Union Congress became a communist organization. So infiltrate and overtake. That's what they said. It was only after Sardar Patel formed the Indian National Trade Union Congress by starting the AITUC.
Okay. Sir, another aspect that we often not talk about is the religious aspect of it.
Are you very clear that this is liberation?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
And simply liberate and integrate. There is no difference between any other province and this province. That was how it was.
Sir, we also know that there is a huge religious aspect to this. They formed this, they established this Deendar movement and so on. There was a fellow called
Channakeswara. He called himself Channakeswara, the reincarnation of Channakeswara. So he was
and from that you have also, there is something called the Mazhabi department, the religious department, which gave funds for building of masjids, dargahs and so on, and not a single paisa for any temple or any festival or anything. So how did that religious aspect work out during the Nizam period?
Why did the Muslims come to here? Now, as Dr. Ambedkar has clearly said, it is not only for loot and rule, but to convert out. So, that is the aim. Therefore, the defeated people were forcibly converted, their wives and their children were taken into the slave markets of Baghdad, and there they are used to be auctioned. So the Muslim conquest of India was with the aim not only of loot and rule, but with the idea of conquest. They did not succeed as they succeeded everywhere else in the world. Every territory, kingdom, country conquered by the Muslims within 50 years, na bhasha, na vesha, na bhosha, nothing remained. All of them became Muslim countries. But in spite of 800 years of domination, only 25% of not even so-called untouchable virgins are converted entirely to Islam. That shows the strength of Hindutva. That shows the strength of our heritage. Here they failed. In India only they failed. That's why they call it now the Muslim leaders, including the Muslims who are here in India, they say there is the unfinished agenda. Unfinished agenda of Islam is the conquest of what is India.
Sir, please explain a little about the way the administration was done. Almost 90% of the people in the Nizam's administration were Muslims, and then being 10% of the population, almost 60 to 70% of the students in Osmania University were Muslims, and teachers were also more than 75% teachers were Muslims. They brought people from Aligarh Muslim University. So how did this whole thing work out?
See, until 1876, the court language, the high court language was Persian. It was only after 1886 that Urdu came, but not Telugu at all. No Telugu school was there. That is why the movement here was on the basis of culture. Andhra Mahasabha, Andhra Saraswata Parishad, everything, Vemana, etc. అంతా సోమవరం ప్రతాప్ రెడ్డి గారు
Correct.
he wrote this Andhra Charitra. So they will call him Andhra,
Yeah.
not Telangana, etc. This is later on for some various reasons. So since this language was suppressed, since their temples were absolutely neglected and desecrated, so Hindus, how to do that one? So they were only calling it Andhra Mahasabha,
Correct.
Andhra Saraswata Parishat, Tarata Viman Granthalayam, etc.
Sir, there is also this incident where Jinnah comes to Hyderabad. He addresses a public meeting where he says that Hindus will be their throats will be cut like chicken and so on. So what was that incident all about?
I am not
Why was he
sure.
coming to Hyderabad?
No, of course he is, because this is Samsthan,
Yeah.
the greatest Muslim
Yeah.
citadel, not even Bhopal,
Yeah.
not even Junagadh, but this is in the heart of India, the heart of India. That's why we gave so much importance for the liberation of Hyderabad.
Yeah.
How can we have a cancer? It is cancerous one.
Yeah.
So Jinnah came, Dr. Ambedkar came and advised the Harijans now not to convert. And he advised them all, you should work for integration, but not for separate Hyderabad state. Dr. Ambedkar, he has got several aspects of his during his
Yes. Yeah.
lifelong struggle
Yeah.
for the ennoblement of the Harijan people.
Yeah. Sir, apart from the Razakar, apart from this whole communist part of it, there were also Congress people, of course, who went underground and so on. There were also Arya Samaj people who were fighting for the
Arya
freedom
Samaj
and so on.
is open
There were
fight.
also Hindu Mahasabha people. So how did this all pan out actually? Were they
As
collaborating?
everywhere else in India,
Yeah.
the Hindu Mahasabha did not have much influence, not much following. Only state Congress. Dr. Pattabi Sitaramaya was the president of the State People's Congress, All India. All India, only 565 states. Congress was, that's called States People's Congress. And Pattabi Sitaramaya was the president. So here also was there State Congress, Swami Ramananda Tirtha,
Correct.
Dogu Ramakrishna Rao, Melkote, we had so many people were there.
Yeah.
But they were not effective. It was only Arya Samaj which was able to put up a fight. Arya Samaj. And where from it would come? It could not go from within. Therefore it used to come from Maharashtra.
Okay.
Most of the people used to come from Maharashtra and Karnataka and demonstrate and etc. So that's how Arya Samaj was the only fighting force for Hindu causes in Nizams. So now Congress later on came. So when the Rajakars came and said we won't join etc. the congressmen had to run away. Where did they go? They go to Vijayawada. They went to Vijayawada. They went to Nagpur. And from there they used to carry on armed struggle. They also used to come and do on. Whereas communist it is 90% of the armed struggle, 10% they also done. The state Congress people, ensconced in Vijayawada and Nagpur, they used to raid and go away.
Okay.
They used to raid and go away. Whereas the communists were local, they used to fight, stand up fight. Chowdary Ailamma.
Okay.
One of my streets is Ailamma Street. Before the Hyderabad, the Telangana government did any honor to him. In this area, the main street is called Chowdary Ailamma Street.
Okay.
And Ambedkar Road, etc. IBC Kalam Road,
Okay.
Subhash Bose.
Okay. So from what I have read, it seems there was also something they have drafted called Muslim separatist agenda. In case they are allowed to become semi-autonomous within the Indian Union, they wanted Urdu as a state language. They wanted the Asabjahis to continue
Not only
in power.
the agreements, etc. First they wanted assembly, because we were insisting during the course of those negotiations, during that standstill agreement before the military action,
Right.
isn't it, in those negotiations, so it was said there should be assembly.
And they wanted a
Like I said, no, majority of the members should be Muslims. Afterwards they said 50-50. So that is less than 50-50. That means the 10% of Muslim population wanted 50% of the MLA seats.
Yeah.
So these used to be the conditions which were ground down slowly.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So just to
It was only Sardar Patel.
yeah,
And after the action was taken, after the integration started,
yeah.
who came first? Jawaharlal came. The man who opposed in military action, so they would go liberation.
Okay.
Sardar Patel came much later.
Yeah. Okay.
And Sardar Patel, how great he was. The gentleman who acceded to India, who Kashmir Maharaja, was exiled. Whereas Nizam,
Exactly.
who took the line of the Rajakars and then waged war for 4 days, that fellow became not only Raja but he was called Raja Pramukh.
Raj Pramukh. So that's a
Who
very
is magnanimous?
Yeah.
Sardar Patel and Nehru.
That's a very disheartening chapter, sir. How the whole thing concluded, basically, because like you said rightly, Nizam.
Munshi was humiliated.
Yeah. And then the same man, Nizam was made Raj
They
Pramukh.
after the surrender, Nehru said Munshi should come out. So Munshi was taken away.
Okay.
Actually, it was Munshi, the ears and the eyes of Sardar Patel in Nizam, in Hyderabad. So he used to report everything to him, and he used to tell, wait.
Yeah. So not only was he made a Raj Pramukh, but all the trusts and money that the Nizam held, they were all sort of returned to him. Nothing was taken away. And then instead of trying him for war crimes or all the crimes that he committed, it's almost like a Hindu genocide. Instead he was made Raj Pramukh, and the state police, the Nizam state police, which along with the Razakars have oppressed and have humiliated, have killed the Hindus, raped Hindu women, they became part of the Hyderabad state police. So, and similarly other departments. So how did this turn of events took place?
This is the traditional inherent large-heartedness of Hindus. Did the Hindus, after any victory, massacre the enemy?
No, but at least they could have tried for war crimes or genocide.
They have tried.
Yeah.
But Sardar, Hinduism does not allow that easy thing. Hinduism does not allow any retribution. Sharanagata, if he says I am surrendering, you have to give him back his kingdom or his things. That is the weakness compared to Islam.
Yeah.
See, you can be very generous, but not to Islam. And Christianity was also like that. But it's full and physical worship. Over time, Christianity, no Christian kings are there now. No Christian empire is there now. That's all over. Whereas Islam is still wanting because it is uncompromising.
And the last final cut or the final.
One second, what we have to realize is the trouble is not with Muslims. The trouble is with Islam. Because Islam says you have to kill others, you have to cut others, etc. No other functions should exist. So the trouble is with Islam, not with Muslims. It is impossible to have any unity between Muslims and Hindus. Impossible.
And
There were only 2 occasions when both of them acted together. But both of them, on those 2 occasions, was for the restoration of Islam's glory. 1857, to restore the Mughal kingdom. So they were Hindu-Muslim unity in 1857 was for what purpose? To restore Muslim only in India. In 1922, the Khilafat movement was also for India's freedom or for the restoration of the Khalifa in Turkey, as wanted by Muslims. So, it is when the Muslim cause is solved by Hindus, then there is Hindu-Muslim joint action. The joint action only to serve the Muslim cause, not a Hindu cause. This is what the Hindus have to realize. Fundamentally, it is impossible to have Hindu-Muslim unity.
And this final humiliating chapter, I think, is the release of Qasim Razvi from the jail.
Right, he was jailed.
Yeah.
What was the condition? That he would go to Pakistan. The condition for releasing that he would go to Pakistan.
Why was he released and sent to Pakistan?
We are Indian genders. That is Hinduism. If you surrender, you have to honor him. That's all. You may have to give back his.
He spent a few years in the jail and he was sent back to Pakistan,
Yes.
where he died anonymously. And before he went, he handed over the party to this fellow Abdul Wahid Owaisi.
No, it was not there. When Brahmanda Reddy was the chief minister of the state, the ban on MIM was lifted.
Okay.
Wahid became again, isn't it? After Wahid became a rebel, what was MIM? Only Hyderabad. His son made it IMIM. All India. Yesterday, day before yesterday, what did this man say? He said, IMIM will support Justice Sudarshan Reddy. One fellow, he says, our party is supporting you.
So, I mean, your concluding remarks, sir, about the whole Razakar movement and the way Hyderabad liberation movement occurred, and you know whether India succeeded or actually it was only a, ultimately, did we really manage to put down this whole Muslim separatist politics?
No, it is still very, very strong. The Muslim separatism is very, very strong. लड़के लेंगे पाकिस्तान, हंस के लेंगे हिंदुस्तान, लड़के लेंगे by staging communal rights, this and that, etc. Pakistan came. Pakistan was created not by the Muslims of Pakistan. Pakistan was created by the Muslims who are living in India, but did not go to Pakistan. In Punjab there was a unionist government consisting of the Sikhs and the Hindus and the Muslims together. There was the Muslim League government. Northwest of frontier town there was only Congress government. Khan, Abdul Ghaffar Khan, etc. And Sindh, this was the day that did not also go to Muslim League at all. So it is only in the Muslims who are in India who created Pakistan. But they did not go there. They wanted to go there. Jinnah wanted an exchange of population. And if you don't allow it, there will be a bloodshed. But Gandhi and Nehru said they have to be here. But Nehru thought that where do I get the votes? I can get only the votes of the Muslims by threatening them. If you don't vote for us, then we won't give you any support, any help, etc. etc. So they are bandits, they are congressmen. The Congress wants the Muslims here and to flourish. Now today they are winning only because of Muslim support. Because from 9% they have now become 20%. 20% block vote is a great vote. And
today all the Nizam's properties belong to them only. They have not been taken away, taken over by the state.
That is a small part, this property, that property has generosity. But what is worse is Congress entirely dependent upon Muslim and communist, leftist fellows, etc. It is this which is going to finish India. Therefore, whether by 2047 India will be a Vikasit Bharat as dreamt by our Prime Minister or Vinasit Bharat, we have to debate. I have not doubts. Unless this Muslim separatism and the Congress cooperating to them is arrested, India is gone by 2047. Today, who is ruling Bengal? Is it Modi? Or is it the Muslims? Who is ruling Kerala? Is it Modi? It is anti-Modi. Who is ruling here in Telangana? Anti-Modi. Because what will happen we have to see. Why are we against intensive erosion of electorate? Because they have enrolled so many Bangladeshi fellows as voters. Now, while Congress divided the country, it went on dividing the districts. Malapur, the community created out of Malabar district, they created a Muslim majority Malapur. Congress followed by dividing the Gurgaon district and creating Nawat district. And the Congress again followed and divided Gurdaspur district and created the Muslim majority Malerkotla district. And Sachar Committee identified 85 more districts which are Muslim majority, and Muslim first program was implemented under the direction of the Italian lady who was whispered into India. So those what are called Sachar Committee, about 85 districts are to become Pakistan. They all become, we had 500 and odd of Samsthan. The princes, now they will be 100 mini Pakistan. First there will be association, then it will be called a society, and after also it will be a federation. If the Nawab of Bhopal, he wanted to create Princessistan, Hindustan, Pakistan, Princessistan. He wanted all the 565 states.
And Usmanistan here.
Princessistan. Now there will be first a Muslim association of all the districts, and afterwards it will become a society, afterwards it will become a federation, and again it's India.
And I think in fact Bhopal merged into India much later, I think in 1949.
Bhopal merged.
Okay.
It is only, what is that?
Junagadh.
Junagadh state. He extended it even to Pakistan. And therefore the Congress, Baghaut, the insurrection, they raised a revolution, and then Prati Sarkar, competitive Sarkar they did. There was a result, there was a referendum, 95%, 98% of them voted for merger. That's how Shyama Das Gandhi was the first chief minister of that Junagadh state.
Okay. So
it is a great history, but unfortunately, true history is not taught in India. Under the influence of the communists, under the influence of Abul Kalam Azad, who was the first education minister, he got all communist fellows into history writing, into literature, into cultural, everything into. That's how upscaling Pakistan, Hindustan, that is what is being implemented. One last thing which I want to tell, when there were Hindus were being massacred in 1946 and 47 in Noakhali, East Pakistan, did Maulana Abul Kalam Azad go there? Did any Congress Muslim leader go there? None of them went there. It was only we was Gandhi alone went there. So this is what is called nationalist. Muslims are not nationalist. They are in the Congress for doing Muslim League work. Now also it is the same thing. Now, is there any government in Telangana since its formation or even earlier which did not kowtow to the MIA? Whether it is Congress or it is TRS or anything is they have to be. They divided, Congress divided the city also into Support Development Authority, Kudusha Development Authority. The provinces are divided, districts were created, yet the city was divided, Kudusha Development Authority. So Congress would go to any extent in order to get power.
Yeah. So on that very thought-provoking note, sir, you have given us so much of information, and even though history was distorted and was suppressed, I think it is scholars like you who are bringing all these facts into light. So very many thanks for your time, sir. I just want to conclude by showing some of these books. So on Nizam rule and Razakars, we have several books actually. One is this Nizam's Rule Unmasked, and there is also this liberation struggle of Hyderabad. In Telugu there is this Hyderabad Nirayudha Pratighatana. Sir also have written, there is also K. Munshi's book, The End of an Era. There are many books which actually talk about the real history of Hyderabad, and Hanuman Chowdary also has written several books actually, and then we also have to sort of read many things. And thanks for your time, sir. We have taken a lot of your time, and thanks for explaining.
I am living only for India to become remain a Hindu country.
Yeah. So once again we thank you, and we are approaching another September 17th this week. So we thank you for your time and for your knowledge and for your wisdom. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.